Hello everyone, it's Tom Quee here of Silva Screen Records, and I'm back again for yet another countdown, and this time we're looking at some of the all-time greatest Christmas songs. And we're going to be covering a wide gamut today. We're going to be talking hymns and carols and pop smashes and film classics and all the rest in between. So grab your cocoa, warm the cockles, and strap in for a festive feast. But just before we get into the songs today, of course, be sure to subscribe to the channel, Silva Screen Records. Comment down below as well, because, this isn't a definitive list. There are too many Christmas classics to include every single one. So let me know any glaring omissions down below in the comments. And of course, head over to Silva Screen Records' incredible vinyl store to pick up loads of the songs that we're talking about today and anything else that might take your fancy. So that's enough rambling. Let's get into part one of my all-time Christmas classics. Number 20, I Believe in Father Christmas by Greg Lake from 1975.
They sold me a dream of Christmas. They sold me a silent night.
Despite being a stone-cold Yuletide classic, writer Greg Lake, he of Emerson Palmer and himself fame, doesn't consider it one. Instead stating his intention was to write a protest song decrying the commercialisation of Crimbo. And despite undeniably being one of the gang, I Believe in Father Christmas does stand apart from traditional festive fare with its thought-provoking lyrics and musical sophistication. Frosty the Snowman this ain't. As the song begins, it feels undeniably Hallmark in its kind of magical, wintry leanings. But as it unfolds, the lyrics are a different prospect. There's talk of being sold a Christmas, being sold a silent night. Tonally too, the song stands out. It has a ragged hopefulness, which, combined with a distinct progginess, creates quite a unique offering. A huge hit at the time that was only kept off the #1 spot by Bohemian Rhapsody. Lake would later comment that he didn't mind. He'd be pissed off if it was Cliff Richard, but because it was Queen, that's all right. Number 19. Away in a Manger from 1882. One of the simplest and most immediate of all the carols, this humble, serene tune is a primary school nativity classic, and probably responsible for the shedding of more parental tears than any other song in existence. We all know the story, and the depiction of this sparse, stable scene is treated with a real delicate simplicity. I really appreciate the unembellished beauty of No Crib for a Bed. It's Hemingway-esque. And that melody, though, that is the real standout, delivered in those tranquil, hushed tones, as if the song was sung itself right at the cribside. But fear not, as we learn in the song that the newborn baby Jesus isn't crying, which is perhaps the biggest miracle of all. And at number 18, we have Jingle Bell Rock by Bobby Helms from 1957.
Giddy up, jingle horse, pick up your feet, jingle around the block. Make sound and mingle in the jingle bell beat.
Who can resist that opening cheeky riff by Hank Garland? We're veering more into the rockabilly side of things now. This song's interesting as it's a fusion of classical Christmas elements with a more modern rock sound. And loads of these songs that we're going to detail, they're straight out the hymn book. But this one feels straight out the jukebox. The melodies throughout the song are playful and inventive. I really like the rise on It's the Right Time, What a Bright Time. And Jingle Bell Rock itself, the rock, it has like a proper dip and kind of gallop to it. Very unique, very fun, very rocking. And every single one of these songs, I'm not going to detail this in every song, have so many interesting covers. But I do want to point to one in this case with Jingle Bell Rock, because maybe in my eyes, I've been listening to a lot of these when I've been making these notes, maybe the Hall & Oates version is perhaps the definitive version. Check it out. Number 17, Silent Night by Franz, Xaver, Gruber and Joseph Mohr, 1818. somber staple of the Christmas season that endures to this day, Silent Night perfectly captures that sense of inner calm that many can experience on Christmas. I mean, non-parents is what I'm saying, basically. Another The Baby Jesus is Sleeping song, of which there's going to be a few more on this list. There's a linguistic quirk in Silent Night. There's an extra syllable. The Silent Night, I can't really sing, excuse that. But, what it does, kind of drawing that line out a little further, it creates a tranquil mood like nothing else. There is truly a serenity to be felt when you listen to this song that, isn't really matched by anything else. The song is utterly timeless and has become as much a staple at midnight mass sessions as sleeping grandparents. Number 16, The Little Drummer Boy by Katherine Kennicot Davies from 1941. Originally known as the Carol of the Drum, this classic song details a young boy who is called by the Magi to the Nativity of Jesus. And whilst not having anything to give himself, he performs a little drum solo, which you think would annoy Mary, but apparently she loved it and smiles at the boy. I must admit that the rup-a-pum-pum, that melody, it can feel a little odd on the tongue, a little silly maybe, but it's actually quite endearing. There's a worn, handmade quality to this track that feels like the best gift that someone, a young boy could conjure. And it gives it this earnestness that, rather than being cloying, is actually quite captivating. A holiday favourite that has garnered many famous fans and covers. I mean, there is probably the ultimate one is David Bowie and Bing Crosby. Justin Bieber also covered it. And the big drummer boy, Ringo Starr, he covered this on his 1999 album, I Want to Be Santa Claus. Number 15, Happy Christmas, War is Over by John Lennon, Yoko Ono and the Plastic Ono Band from 1971. It's fitting that one of the greatest songwriters ever wrote one of the greatest Christmas songs ever. But of course, this is John Lennon we're talking about. He couldn't play it straight. So his Christmas song, well, it's also a protest song about Vietnam. Patient and methodical, the song has a slowly building lilt that is a joy to listen to. Especially at the end when the chorus just crashes in and that never-ending refrain of war is over if you want it is played as perpetual plea and declarative celebration. Lennon understood with Imagine that sometimes you need a bit of treacle to get across those more difficult messages. So, this song is very progressive. It's dealing, obviously, with anti-Vietnam sentiment, but also social unity and change. And that's what he's doing here. This is a great pop song, but it's inviting us as listeners to use Christmas as a time to contemplate change in the world, rather than just the lack of change in our wallet. Number 14, Walking in a Winter Wonderland by Felix Bernard and Richard Bernard Smith from 1934. Not a Christmas song per se, rather a romantic song about a couple, enjoying each other's company in the winter season. Walking in a Winter Wonderland has this kind of sumptuous, jazzy swing to it that makes it the perfect accompaniment to any festive shindig. In the song, the couple who, shock horror, aren't married, make a snowman and tell the snowman that he can marry them when he returns to town. Oh, this crazy couple. But that sense of playfulness, of abandon, it runs through the song. It's contagious. And it really makes Walking in a Winter Wonderland one of those songs, when you hear it, you just can't stop smiling, regardless of how cold it is. Number 13, We Three Kings by John Henry Hopkins Jr. from 1857. The first popular carol written in North America We Three Kings is a personal favourite of mine, that surging, buccaneering melody, perfectly complementing the journey of the Magi, you know, these people that are westward leading, never ceasing, heading to a baby with gifts that are far too old for him, but, you know, it doesn't matter. This song is a dynamite listen. The song has a shifting, restless quality. It feels modern, it feels Middle Eastern, it feels like it's from the medieval time. Like, it feels like a lot of things going on at once. It really is quite an intoxicating journey. And of course, it's about lofty matters, but it's testament to the legacy of the song that it's been absorbed by the playground canon. I mean, you know, how many times We Three Kings, one in a taxi, one in a car, right? That's when you know you made it. Number 12. Santa Claus is Coming to Town by J. Fred Coots and Haven Gillespie from 1934.
You better watch out, you better not cry, better not pout, I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town.
When this song was covered by Eddie Cantor on his radio show in November 34, it became an immediate hit. I mean, sure, these days, songs can get millions of streams in a day, but back then, 500,000 sheets of music were requested after the song was played. I mean, that's got to count for something. Clearly geared at children and sautéed in whimsy, the song strikes a delicate balance. You know, it teaches a moral lesson, whilst not being didactic, and being wrapped up in quite a delicious, irresistible melody. The song has a bounce and gallop that is infectious as it carries on. I mean, sure, the lyrics could perhaps be creepy out of context, you know, a man who knows when you're sleeping knows when you're awake, but the song's too damn good. I mean, that doesn't matter, you know, you kind of ignore that and just let the song enrapture you. Number 11, Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas by Hugh Martin and Ralph Blaine from 1944. Introduced by Judy Garland in the classic MGM musical Meet Me in St. Louis, this song is refreshingly bittersweet. You know, it stands out in the canon, surrounded by all the cheery chestnuts around it. With that swooning, crooning, somewhat defeated central melody, comes the acknowledgement of the complexities of the festive season. Someday soon we'll all be together if the fates allow, the song says. And until then, we'll have to muddle through. And muddle through. I mean, that's just not something you really hear in these songs. You know, I really respect this admission that the holiday period can be as painful as pleasurable. Indeed, when Frank Sinatra covered this song, he asked the original writer to change that line. And they actually mentioned something about holly on a bough. But I mean, changes or not, the core sentiment of the song continues. You know, it recognizes the ups and downs of this season. But also, you know, in a Christmas spirit, also offers a message of hope and resilience. Okay, guys, and there you have it. There's part 1 of my all-time Christmas classics. Be sure to subscribe to the channel, as part 2 will be uploaded very shortly. Let me know down in the comments what you think of my list so far. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Find us on all the various social platforms. The links down below. And finally, be sure to head to Silva Screen's vinyl store online to pick up tons of the stuff that we talked about today and whatever else might tickle your fancy. Until then, bye.